Hi everyone, thank you for joining me to AppScan Tuesdays again. I've started this channel last year in May and we are now in episode 79, and this will be the last episode that I'm hosting. The next video we are changing the format and I will have another host here instead of me. I'll join that video and I will keep the details on that for the next video. In the meantime, to celebrate my last episode as a host of AppScan Tuesdays, I am bringing MC Lee to the house. So, hello, Peter. How are you?
Hey, Ton. Hey, good. Yes, MC Lee in the house.
Yeah, I couldn't think of someone. I mean, no offense, Lauren and others. I couldn't think of someone better for my last video here. This is going to be your fourth video. I will show I will have the links to the videos just ahead of you. It was the how to bring Java code, how to be an expert, where we talked about the workshops, and we had a video on IFA. And now, following the request from a comment coming from one of the viewers, we're going to talk about SAP applications.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, I think the very first video had attracted a lot of comments, and one of the question obviously was SAP and in scanning an AppScan source for static analysis for our solution. And yeah, we do have a solution for that. And this is kind of really to show everyone how AppScan Source could be scanning,
Mm-hmm.
your source code and, potentially also your web application. So yeah, we're going to kind of show that today.
Yeah, and if you recall, when we showed the Java code, the Java scanning, we had a list of languages, and then as we grew, we had more. Now we have more, and if we wait for 10:06, which I won't be here, but my colleagues will, we will show the growth in languages. So always something new here.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, before we go into the demo, I had a video again over Peter's head about the SAST tech tech preview. It just went live, so if you want to see check the video. If you want more details, feel free to put a note in the comment or reach out to your HCL rep. So, Peter, with that,
Mhm.
let's jump to the topic.
Sure. So I'm going to share my slide here. AppScan has in the past, supported um, with other tools on SAP ABAP, but now we kind of take it natively and we've now support SAP ABAP within AppScan Source. And so in this case here, we have developed this support for SAP ABAP, and it's really, it's a there is a set list of vulnerabilities that we look for, and which you see on the screen here. And it looks for some of the most critical ones that you see in SAP ABAP code, which is nice because a lot of times developers, they're just really looking for the low hanging fruits, and this is really where we kind of provide that kind of quick scan so that they can quickly and check to see if they have any of these high critical vulnerabilities. So, out of, all of this, SAP ABAP code, we can perform over 65 different test cases to basically identify any potential vulnerability in the code. Stuff like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and you can see here also command injection, as well as buffer overflow. So, these are some of the low-hanging fruit, more high critical vulnerabilities that we look for. And sometimes it's all we need in terms of looking at, some of the high critical ones, because again, in security testing, we don't have a lot of time sometimes for that, to look for everything, but at least within AppScan Source, we can help you find the most critical ones. And then not to mention, we also can use AppScan standard or AppScan dynamic analysis testing, and you could and you should test it against your web application front end for SAP. So that's another kind of approach that we can take in terms of scanning your SAP application from more of an end-to-end perspective. So not only looking at the code side, but also looking at it from a front end perspective, from a web app perspective.
And it's a very good point, Peter, because customers have been asking us about SAP, are we scanning SAP applications? And they usually refer to the static analysis, and I believe it's because mostly other vendors are pointing them at that. But don't forget, when you have a web application, when you have a web interface to your application, you shouldn't just rely on one technology. Use more. There are things that DAS is better than SAS. There are things that SAS is better than DAS. So don't limit yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other great thing, Aton, is we do provide both the on-premise solution for SAP testing, but also on the cloud as well. So this is actually available both for on-prem and cloud, and so yeah, we give the customer both of these options in terms of supportability.
Cool. So now that we know, as usual
Mhm.
in these videos, I want to see how it looks in the product.
Sure. Okay. So let's go over to a quick demo, and I'll show you how easy it is to import an SAP ABAP code and scan it.
Great.
All right. So let's start here. Okay. So here's the demo of how we're going to bring in SAP ABAP code into AppScan Source. So before we kind of jump in, just wanted to kind of show you that we do have a one that's kind of already imported. So within AppScan Source for analysis, you can kind of do pretty much everything in here. You can bring in source code. You can look at the vulnerabilities. Obviously you can scan it, but yeah, everything is kind of all contained in this AppScan Source of analysis environment. For those that are kind of brand new to AppScan Source for analysis, this tool can do pretty much everything that you need for static analysis scanning. So again, this is kind of a quick introduction of what AppScan Source for analysis is. Okay. And then obviously in here, you can do triaging, you can do reporting. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. If you kind of missed the introduction to AppScan Source, you can always kind of check on some of the other videos in the past that Aton has there. Yeah. So let's bring in an SAP ABAP code. It's pretty simple. I'm going to go over to File, Add Application. All you have to do is just create a new app, okay? And you give it an application name. So I'm going to call it an SAP ABAP scan, okay? And then I'll give it a temporary working directory, and this is where we put in all the temporary files in there while we're scanning. So we're going to click Next. And then the next thing AppScan Source is going to ask you is what is the project that you want to import for scanning. You can see that there's an extensive list now. Probably the last time that you saw this from AppScan Source to now, we've added quite a few language support. So again, I don't know what will happen in the future. You might be scrolling for more supportability of languages in here. So the list will continue to expand as promised there. So SAP ABAP is right here in the first one. So let's click Next. And then the next thing we're going to do is give it a project name. So we're going to call it the same thing, SAP ABAP _ scan. Okay. And then for the working directory, we'll use the same temporary working directory. And then we will add the source code into here. So click on the Add Source Root button. And all you have to do is just navigate to where your SAP ABAP code is. For me, I put it into the sample application, which we'll look at here, and SAP ABAP code. Point to the folder. That's all you need to do. We will support all the ABAP files that are inside of this folder. Click OK, and just as easy as that, you can see all the source code has been brought into here for scanning. Okay. And that's it. Pretty much that's all you need to do for setting this up. all you have to do is click finish. And once it's done, you have your SAP ABAP project ready to be scanned by AppScan Source. Okay. And then right here, we can either scan at the application level or the project level. You can have multiple projects within an application. So if you have different SAP applications, you can have more in here. Projects, you can have more projects in here. So I'm just going to scan the project level and click on Scan Project. And that will kick off the scan for us. Okay.
So it is
So
as
the scan,
simple as with any other scripting language that we have. I mean, like scanning JavaScript, like scanning Kotlin, whatever, on that list.
yeah, exactly. You can see the the speed of the scan because it's it doesn't require you to do like compilation and all that, right? And like some of the object-oriented languages like Java or .NET, you got to kind of wait for it to compile and then to scan. In this case, like you said, it's like our scripting languages. You just import and scan, and you'll be able to get findings very quickly. Okay.
And it demos great, so always good.
Yeah. In AppScan source, and then you can see that we have some vulnerabilities here. Okay. So once you have it, AppScan Source is going to say, hey, you want to open the assessment. You can see that we scanned really fast. It took us about 38 seconds to scan this. Let's click yes. And we're going to move on from configuration to the triage view. And this is where you'll see all the findings from AppScan Source. And you can see that we have some findings here. So again, that's how easy it is to kind of to bring in an SAP ABAP code to run a scan against it. So if you have any of those kind of source code, you can always bring it into AppScan Source and run a quick scan. And like you see earlier, it's pretty quick. It's simple to bring in. No need to put together a compile environment or anything. It's scripting language, so very easy to, just like a scripting language, is very easy to just bring in source code.
Yeah. Looks great, Peter. Let's bring you back in.
Sure.
Thanks, Peter. This was good. I mean, it was much simpler than the first video that we did with Java, but naturally, as you said, because it's scripting languages, just point AppScan at your folder and let it do the rest. So, and we are not showing how to scan SAP web application or web interface with AppScan standard just because we didn't prepare it. We don't have that application to share here. But please try it on your own. If you have any issues, reach out. We can look into doing that. Well, the person that will take charge of this channel will look into doing that in the future if needed. Peter, thank you again for videos. I think you are on the top of my list. Either you or Florian, I don't know which one of you is on the top of my list for videos. And I'm sure you will come again to the channel when someone else is going to host it. So thank you. And thank you everyone for watching. Until next time.
Thanks, Eitan. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye, Peter.